Hello, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. So go ahead, put those questions in the comments so that I may answer. Now, I have a good topic for you today. I'm going to be talking about applying for the U visa or status. What is that exactly? So, if you've been the victim of a crime in the United States and you reported this to the law enforcement, this can be that this can be certified to allow you to get the U visa or status. That gives you status in the United States for 4 years. And then after 3 of those 4 years, you can actually move forward to get permanent residence. So it is an important form of relief that not a lot of people know exists. So is it do you have to be the victim of certain crimes or specific crimes, or or do you have to be, is it any crime? So it does have to be of a certain type of crime. And my rule of thumb is to determine whether you qualify, you should still go ahead and schedule a consultation to talk about your situation, because I can then determine whether you qualify. But usually, whether or not we decide whether you qualify is going to depend on the effect of the crime on you. Did this crime have physical or leave you with severe physical or mental abuse? If it did, then you could qualify. Now, what are the requirements of this? First of all, you do not need to have a current status to apply for this. You could even possibly have past immigration violations and still get the U visa. But what you do need is you do need to show that you were the victim of a qualifying crime. Qualifying crimes, I can give you examples of those. It's going to be if you've been the victim of, so for example, if you've been the victim of stalking, if you've been the victim of domestic violence, if you've been the victim of assault, if you've been the victim of robbery, if you've been the victim of battery, if you've been the victim of fraud that did leave you affected or traumatized. These are types of crimes that could possibly qualify you for this status. Now, the other thing I want to address here is the length of time it takes to get the U status. It does take a while, right? But it is still worth pursuing, because while you're waiting for a final determination or decision on the U status, you're waiting for a visa to become available. That's hence the long wait time. You are able to get a work permit and the ability to stay here in the United States while you're waiting for all of that to happen. Usually what happens is we submit. So when I represent my clients, I am the one that I contact law enforcement. I request what's called a U certification. Once I get that from the law enforcement, then we put all the evidence together regarding the crime, why it qualifies, what happened. And then once we file everything and it is properly filed, once we get a bona fide filing determination letter, that's saying, hey, we received everything and we've done an initial review. We believe you qualify. We're just going to now do a final review. But after that is done, then it means that the next step is that you are able to apply for your work permit. If you file the U visa application and then also you opt to have the work permit issued upon a bona fide determination issuance, then that work permit would be issued right then and there after the bona fide determination letter is issued. So even though it takes about 7 to 10 years right now for the actual U visa to come through, what happens is that for that period of time that you have to wait for the final decision, you are able to stay here and work and wait for your final decision. So that has just changed recently. Last year, President Biden and the administration made that change. It wasn't there before. Before, you had to wait maybe 2-3 years just to get that bona fide determination letter and get on the wait list, get on what's called a deferred action wait list before you could even think to apply for the work permit. But now that has changed. And instead of waiting for years to get the work permit, you're now able to get it in months and get the much needed relief you need to work, to stay here while you wait for your process to go through. Now, once you have received the U visa or the U status, what happens next is you are able to file for adjustment of status. That's your green card, after you've shown continuous presence in the United States for 3 years. So you get your work permit for 4 years. And then if you've stayed within 3 years, you could apply for your green card and do an adjustment of status where you get to stay here and you still get to get that green card. So it is actually a path. So it's not just a temporary status, but it is a path to permanent residence, right? So it's something that you should definitely think about applying for if you've been the victim of domestic violence, any kind of crime, robbery, assault, threats, any crime that was reported to law enforcement, then this is something that we could pursue. That's what I help my clients to do. I help my clients with the more challenging aspects of this process. And that's where I represent my clients before the law enforcement to get that use certification and then move forward from there. So I want you to know that there is this option available. If you're here without status, it's okay. You could still apply for this. It is actually available for individuals like you where you're out of status and you need a way forward. And you are here and you also would like to move on with your life and get past what happened to you. So it's a good option. Now I'm going to take questions. So go ahead and put those questions in the comments and then I will answer your questions. So the first I see here is, what happens if you remarry and had already gotten your 2-year green card? So that's a complex question, right? But if you're remarried, you've got your 2-year green card, then then my next question to you would be, what happened? You have your 2-year green card. Did you go from 2 years to 10 years, then remarry? If you never applied for your 2-year, then at this point, you may still be a permanent resident. Remember, under the law, you're a permanent resident until an immigration judge takes it away or you voluntarily hand over your permanent residence. If you have not done those, then may not be too late to apply for the 10-year. Now, this is where I'm going to say it's very, very important for you to schedule that consultation so we can talk about your case and then determine how we should move forward on it, because it is more complex. If you've remarried, but you had your 2-year, but you didn't change over to the 10-year, then that is a problem that you need to fix ASAP. And it may be a fixable situation, but you have to get on it. So don't cheat yourself and sit there and don't get legal advice and representation. There is a solution here. You just have to take the steps to make sure you get that legal advice and representation you need. I help clients with this. So go to the link in the profile And it's going to take you to the website where you'll see all the ways you could get in touch, schedule that consultation ASAP. Because yes, if you remarry, and what happened, because remember, if you didn't apply for the 10-year and now you're remarried, you can't necessarily just overlook the fact that you never reapplied for the 10-year, because here's what happens. And this is the dangerous part. This is where it's an emergency for you if this has happened to you or someone else. It's urgent because the minute that you've passed that deadline to apply for the 2-year, you may be subjected to deportation, so removal proceedings, where you could get a notice to appear from the court. At the point that you've gotten a notice to appear in the court, it gets way more complicated, way more stressful, a lot more expensive, because now you have to then go to court, and that's your last stand before removal. If you can beat that, where you don't get the notice to appear, it means you're not in immigration proceedings, and it means that the USCIS can still make a determination on whether you should go from a 2-year to a 10-year. Now, remember, there are waivers available, right? So I talked about this, I think last week or so, I talked about this. Mistakes that people make when it comes on to going from the 2 to the 10-year is that when you divorce a spouse, you think the spouse that got you the 2-year, you think, oh, for sure, there is no way that you're going to be able to get that 10-year, so you give up. But guess what? There are special waivers available for people like you. You've been divorced, or your spouse mistreated you, or you'll experience extreme hardship if you don't get the 10-year. And so there are solutions here. You just have to find the right people to help you through it. I help my clients to get through this process successfully, so you can always schedule that consultation. So can you explain DACA? So DACA is Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, and this is for individual children, mostly children, who came in. You had to come into the country before the age of 16, and you had to come into the country, you had to be physically in the country since around 2000. There's a specific date. I believe it's 2007. That's why many minors who came in after the date don't qualify, or if you came in after 16, you don't qualify. But right now, DACA is on hold, right? And because it's on hold, no new individuals are being issued DACA. What DACA does is it allows people who falls within the criteria I just described before to get this special deferred action where they're protected. They're protected from deportation. And when they're protected from deportation, they can get their work permit and stay here and, have some semblance of normalcy as they go through their lives in the United States. Of course, DACA recipients do deserve more than that. But and that's one of the issues now, the controversial issues, is that many individuals do want DACA recipients to get legal status. But then, of course, you just always have the roadblocks from the anti-immigrant side of the politics, and they don't want to move forward with reform that would include legal status for DACA recipients. But that, in a nutshell, is DACA. And unfortunately, right now it's on hold. But those who do have DACA currently can still go ahead and renew it. So go ahead, keep putting your questions in the comments and I will answer. All right, so I see here on YouTube. So my BF abused me. We have 2 kids and he hit me with a broom. So I'm so sorry that that's happening to you. And when it comes on to, first of all, be sure that you're safe. If you're in immediate danger, definitely go ahead. Don't hesitate to call the police. If you are without status here, your safety should still be number one. And usually the police are not the ones to enforce immigration law. They're not supposed to enforce immigration law. They're supposed to attend to emergencies. So keep that in mind, that your safety is number one. Now, as it relates to your immigration status, there are options in the case that you are being abused severely, and in this case, you're being severely abused. There are options. I would have to find out more about your situation, and that's where you should schedule that consultation. But there are options in cases where you're experiencing this. Now, I talk often about in cases where you're married, but there are also options where you're not married and you're going through this. There is the you. So you said the police arrested him. This is a you, right? I don't know. I would still have to evaluate to confirm you qualify. But if you are seeking if you're seeking immigration relief and the police arrested him, this is a you status, right? And you would be able to get your work permit in months. So it's so important for you to follow up so that we can confirm you qualify and then get started. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put the link and the phone number in the comments on YouTube. It's also in the About tab. So you can go to the website or you can call this number and go ahead. The scheduling coordinator will help you to schedule everything. So just stay safe and get in touch with us should you need assistance to confirm you qualify for the U status. So that is an example here of how you could possibly qualify for U status and still be eligible for the work permit. All right. So that's going to be it for me today. I'm going to be heading out. Thanks so much for your time. I will be back tomorrow where we can talk about another topic and you can ask me questions. So go ahead and look out for me tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. And once again on YouTube, this you very well may qualify for the U status. However, I can never confirm because I don't give personalized legal advice here until I can do a detailed evaluation. And so seek legal advice. That's what I help my clients with, and I do help my clients to get the U status. So go ahead and schedule that consultation. Thanks everyone for your time. Thank you. I appreciate you too. So thank you for that encouragement. I will be back tomorrow. So have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.